Gaethje versus Holloway has had one of the biggest narrative shifts that I've seen in a minute. I mean, when this fight first got announced, a lot of you guys were mad. Most of the MMA community was mad because everybody was saying this fight's not going to be competitive. Holloway is going to be the new Ferguson. Improved Gaethje's just going to destroy Holloway. Gaethje's low kicks, his power is just going to be too much for Holloway. You know, Holloway's undersized for the lightweight division. Gaethje's going to be the first one to knock out Max Holloway. This is everything that you guys were saying in the last couple of months. And I feel like in the last couple of weeks, this is what I've been hearing. Max Holloway is properly bulking up to the lightweight division. Gaethje's a sloppy man on the feet. Gaethje's getting old. Holloway is going to expose the body. Holloway did better against Poirier in the rematch than most remember. Holloway will win in the later rounds with his boxing and pressure. Actually, I'm picking Holloway the more I think about it. This is how fast you guys switch up. I'm keeping you guys accountable. I'm absolutely going to keep you guys accountable. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is that both of these fighters have a ton of experience. I mean, Justin Gaethje has fought Dustin Poirier. He's fought Michael Chandler. He's fought Eddie Alvarez. He's fought Charles Oliveira for the title. He's fought Khabib for the title. Max Holloway has fought Volkanovski 3 times. He's been a world champion. He's beat Jose Aldo. He's fought Arnold Allen. He's fought Yair Rodriguez. He's just coming off that win over the Korean Zombie. So when discussing this fight, I mean, both of these fighters have a ton of experience. Both of these fighters have been in a lot of wars. And I think both of these fighters have taken a crazy amount of damage. And even though I've read people say that, you know, they feel like Max Holloway has not taken as much damage as Justin Gaethje, in my opinion, that's a bit debatable because even though maybe Max Holloway is not getting finished or TKO'd or dropped the way Justin Gaethje is, I mean, Max Holloway has absorbed a lot of punishment. I mean, he absorbed a lot of punishment in that Volkanovski trilogy. That Yair Rodriguez fight was a war. That Poirier fight was also a war. So even though I think maybe Max Holloway hasn't necessarily been dropped or hurt the way Justin Gaethje has, he's been in the same amount of wars, if not more wars. So in my opinion, I feel like in terms of damage, both of these fighters have taken a similar amount of damage. I mean, maybe you guys think that's debatable, but in my opinion, it's pretty similar. I would maybe even lean to Max Holloway, you know, dealing with a lot more punishment at this point in his career. But the main question is, I think really this fight really comes down to this main question. Who do you think is improving more at this point in their career? Your answer is Justin Gaethje. I mean, Justin Gaethje has been proving quite a lot. I mean, he's been showing that in his last couple of performances, his fight against Rafa Fiziev, his fight against Dustin Poirier in the rematch. And this Gaethje, this new and improved Gaethje is a very, very scary fighter. I mean, Gaethje is a lot more impatient and has improved a lot more with his timing, his shot selection, his low kicks, his power have always been a big part of his game. But now pair that up with composure and improved technique. I mean, he's also been incorporating a lot more feints and there's a more methodical approach to his madness. He has better distance management, does a better job of entering and exiting the pocket. So all of these things, I mean, think about the rematch with Dustin Poirier as well. Dustin Poirier stunned him with a straight left hand. And what did Justin Gaethje do? He stayed composed. He did not just start to brawl it out with Dustin Poirier as the old version of Gaethje probably would have. And Justin Gaethje also landed pretty good combinations on Dustin Poirier in that rematch. Good combinations to the body, good combinations to the head. You know, Dustin Poirier was having a very hard time of getting his distance down, of getting his timing down against Justin Gaethje. And as Trevor Whitman said, this is controlled chaos. Like this new version of Justin Gaethje is a problem. And now Max Holloway has to move up to a division where he's not constantly fighting at, to fight this new version of Justin Gaethje. So ultimately, it is evident to me that Justin Gaethje is the one improving. Now, just because Justin Gaethje is improving, I can see why you guys would argue, okay, yeah, Justin Gaethje is clearly improving, but what does that say about Max Holloway? Well, in my opinion, hot take here, maybe it's not a hot take, but I feel like Max Holloway is not improving, and I would even argue that he's slightly declining because Max Holloway, look, he's already shown that he's a tough night out for any contender not named Alexander Volkanovski. And even though he's coming off those 2 wins over the Korean Zombie and Arnold Allen, I feel like those fights to me did not really show that Max Holloway is necessarily improving a lot. At least he's not improving as much as Justin Gaethje is. And even that Korean Zombie fight, man, he was getting hit quite a lot by the Korean Zombie. And if we're being honest, like that fight should not have even happened in the first place because the Korean Zombie was coming off a loss to Alexander Volkanovski. He was having his retirement fight. I don't understand why the UFC would match him up against Max Holloway, who Max Holloway is clearly still a contender. He was coming off that win against Arnold Allen. So the match didn't really make a lot of sense. And like I said, it wasn't a fight where I was necessarily impressed with Max Holloway. I feel like it was a typical Max Holloway performance. That's not to say that Max Holloway is trash or bad, but that's to say that, I don't think he improved that much in his fight against the Korean Zombie. So Max Holloway, like I said, we all know he has great boxing. He has great footwork, constantly overwhelms guys with pressure and volume. He's always had excellent cardio. He is quite hittable. He has decent power at 145 pounds. He's not necessarily knocking guys out left and right, but if you get sloppy or you get overly aggressive against Max Holloway, he can absolutely hurt you. I mean, we've seen in fights like that fight against Arnold Allen, like in that 5th round where Arnold Allen got a bit over aggressive. He did get drawn by Max Holloway. So even though I think Max Holloway doesn't have a lot of power, I do think that if you get sloppy against Max Holloway, he can absolutely drop you. Now, the reason why I do not think that Max Holloway is improving is because I believe that there has been a clear decline in his speed, his footwork, and his ability to exit exchanges. If you rewatch that fight against Arnold Allen or that fight against Korean Zombie, and you rewatch one of his older fights, like his fight against Dustin Poirier, maybe his fight against Volkanovski, the first fight, you can tell that Max Holloway has started to slowly decline. And even though he's not necessarily like clearly declining where he's getting knocked out, I just feel like his speed is not all there anymore. I feel like his speed is not all there. Maybe that's due to the fact that he's been in so many fights in the UFC, that he's been in so many wars. That is not to say, like I said, that Max Holloway isn't very good, but I feel like he's already hit his peak. And maybe I am proven wrong in this fight, but to me, to have full confidence on a Max Holloway, who I believe is not improving, moving up a weight class and is facing an improved, more methodical version of Justin Gaethje is just delusional. Like, I think it's delusional to be fully confident in Max Holloway winning this fight. That's not to say that he can't win this fight. But if you think about all those aspects that I just brought up, the fact that Justin Gaethje is actually improving a lot more in his career, the fact that Max Holloway has taken a lot of damage, the fact that I also believe that if you watch his last couple of fights, I feel like he's starting to slowly decline. And I don't know if it's because the punishment he's taken. And even though there's been a lot of fights where Max Holloway wins a 5 rounds war, he does take a lot of damage in those fights, like that Yair Rodriguez fight, like that Volkanovski trilogy. I mean, he took a lot of damage in that fight, his fight against Dustin Poirier. And I feel like Max Holloway is quite hittable. And then you're moving up to a weight class against Justin Gaethje, one of the hardest hitters at 155. I feel like it's a big ask, in my opinion. It's a big ask. That's not to say that Max Holloway cannot win this fight. I just feel like when you think about those factors, I feel like a lot of people are thinking about like this old version of Max Holloway. But if you actually rewatch his fights, like, I mean, Justin Gaethje is going to hurt him. And yes, maybe Max Holloway is going to be able to land his combinations. He's definitely the more technical fighter. But also, if he's bulking up, maybe he does lose a bit of his speed. And Justin Gaethje is getting faster. He's getting more technical. He's a lot more patient. And maybe if he's able to pressure Justin Gaethje and bring back that old version of Justin Gaethje who gets a bit sloppy, who gets a bit over aggressive, who overextends, and I could see Max Holloway having success. But if he's not able to do that, and if he goes punch for punch with Justin Gaethje, he's going to lose that fight and he's going to get badly hurt in this matchup.